Jeff and I are excited to have you guys back with us on the expert series. And today we have Dale Alexander, and you all need to hear his message. We were just talking, while it's not sport specific, he has one of the best messages that we all need to hear. I wish I had heard as a youth. So pay attention, get out your notebooks and listen, and let's talk money.
Let's go. Love it. Thank
Yeah,
you all for
welcome,
having me,
Dale.
by the way.
We really appreciate you coming. And
Thank you.
I don't know how far you and Tammy go back, but I met you through one of our summits we did with Igniting the Next Generation. And Dale's book, The Talk, is incredible. And after reading it, I got hold of him, and each of my kids has a signed copy, and it's a required reading for them now. So I appreciate that. But just tell us a little bit more about yourself, Dale, and we'll get into this.
Yeah, so I'm in South Georgia. I'm a Georgia native, South Georgia guy. Sports all my life from 6 to when I was 18. And I ride a skateboard on my hands. That's my stupid pet trick. It's every year on my birthday, I'll do a skateboard video of my handstand. So the world record, while I'm not an athlete, I'm a runner. While I'm not a sports athlete, I do want to break a world record. And the world record of a skateboard handstand is 4/10 of a mile. So I'm trying to find the perfect hill to break the Guinness record for the longest handstand on a skateboard by a 60-plus-year-old. So that's my stupid
I
pet
love
trick.
that. That is awesome.
You can see it online. But anyway, I've been a certified financial planner. While that's not my job, it's what I've studied for since the 90s. All of my career, I've studied what to do with money. And a few years ago, my middle son said, Dad, you need to tell all of our friends the story about money that you tell us, this principle. And so I put this lesson together, the talk about money, a young adult's guide to the one decision that changes everything, because there's one moment that changes everything. And then I started going around to high schools, and then a friend of mine said, Dale, put it down in the book. And I wrote the book, and it nationally, Fox and ABC, and it kind of podcast, and it just went crazy. So now I go all over the country talking about this one moment in a young adult's life that's the most important life decision they'll ever make, more important than who they choose to marry. That's a bold statement, but I believe it's more important than who they choose to marry, and it deals with money. So sorry for the dogs.
No, I didn't hear, but I have two myself. So, um, so I read the book as well. I know Jeff has. Um, and again, I mentioned that in the introduction. I wish I'd had it as a youth. Um, but how do we get them to listen and apply this?
So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can give them salt and make them thirsty. So I just want to try and give salt and make people thirsty to, you can't force anybody. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So I just want to try and convince you there's a better way to live than what the world is trying to, what this is, our phones are trying to tell us to live. And few people today are financially successful. There's a reason why. Getting money right is not hard. There's a lot trying to make it impossible. There's a lot trying to make it impossible, but it's not hard. Most people think it's hard and don't think they'll ever have a shot. But these young adults, these young athletes, especially with money that's coming at athletes today, what's happened, the opportunities they have if they manage this well, and they'll never know they'll even make a decision. They can just naturally kind of fall into being one of the wealthiest, most generous people in the world. It's not hard. And they have this moment in front of them. And Tammy, it's funny, you've said this a couple of times. Almost every adult says two things when they hear my story. Where was this when I was 18? And our parents never talked to us about money. That's why, and there's a reason, but that's why I called it The Talk About Money. I got you talk about money. So just let me tell the story of the most important life decision these young adults will ever make in their life. I heard a pastor say the other day, don't trade what you want most for what you want now. And we'll talk more about all this as we go through this. But they have a moment in their life to set themselves up for the rest of their life, and it looks exciting now, but it could be a lot more exciting down the road. So I can tell a story in a
So,
minute.
so number one, obviously, we want our athletes to read the book. It's a great read. It's an easy read. The link is right below this video, so click on that so you can get it. But let's talk about some of the principles. What are some of the things that they need to learn and know and understand that they'll get from your book?
I start when I go speak in high schools or colleges. I start with this question: if you look rich, you probably are rich. And everybody starts yelling, "No, that's not true." Well, wait, and I go, "Wait a minute. Wait, this is telling me, this phone is telling me, if I look rich, I have to be rich." And nothing could be further from the truth. Rich people act poor, and poor people act rich. Typically, the richer you look, the poorer you are. Now, when I say you may be present rich, but you're future poor. Wealthy people, and there's a difference between being rich. Rich has nothing to do with money, by the way. You can be homeless and be rich. Good health, a lot of friends, being at peace with what you have or don't have. Wealth is what you think of when you think of having money. But people with wealth don't drive around in their retirement plans. They just don't. But the most important, let's go to the most important life decision a young adult will ever make. And I say it's more important than who you marry, because if we don't get money right, half of our marriages are gone. And many of the other half of marriages that make it aren't as great as they could be because of the weight of money. So here's the most important life decision your young adults, your young athletes will make. Okay. If you're one of the young adults, young athletes watching this, listen to me. When you get your first real job, when you get your first NIL money, when you get your first place that's bringing in income to you, you're going to go from making basically nothing to the most money you've ever seen in your life, at least on a regular basis. When you get your first job paycheck or this big NIL thing, instead of taking and spending all 100% of that paycheck or that money, I only want you to stop and live on 70% of it. Make 70% your 100%. Let's say when you get out, forget NIL, let's just say you get your first real job. When you get your first real job, you're going to go from making basically nothing. Even if you got out of college and became and signed with a professional team, you're going to have your first real job. Instead of taking and spending all that paycheck, stop at 70% of it. That's still going to be the most money you've ever seen in your life. You're at zero. Make 70% your 100%. And watch this. The next 20% you take and you invest. I'm going to show you how to do this. And the last 10%, look at me, give it away. I don't care who you give it away to. Give it away. I'll come back to that point in a minute. Give it away. Make 70% your 100%. Here's why you can do this. They don't have a standard of living established yet. And whatever number you accept as your standard of living, that becomes your reality. Look, in 2 months after you start getting this money, you'll never know 70% is not 100. It's just my 100. Are you with me? It's all I've ever known. My 100 is just my 100, but it's really 70. It's just my 100. And 20% is being invested, and 10% is going out to the world, just dropping grace bombs on everybody that comes behind you, just changing everybody's life that comes behind you. And everything about your life gets new perspective when you start giving. We'll come back to that point. Don't get me off track right now. But here's the most important thing. This is why you had me on this call. The next statement. This is the most important thing I'm going to say. You young athletes, you have one shot to make this happen. Because if you take 3 of your first job paychecks, spending all 100% of it, you will never back down to 70. It's over. And you will live life like most of America. I don't care how big the houses are you pass. Most of America, which is broke, stressed, angry, and anxious because of the weight of money. And watch this. Don't tell me I'm going to make more money in the future and I'm going to earn my way back to 70. I'll solve it in the future when I make more money. Watch this. No, you won't. I've studied this for 38 years. No, you won't. And here's why. Most money problems are not problems about money. 51% of Americans that make over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. 30% of Americans that make over $250,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. A young girl in a South Georgia school one day, she said in an auditorium, said, I can't live on 70% of my income. Now she's in a part-time high school job. And I said, I knew what she was going to say. Why can't you live on 70%? And I asked her. And she said, because it cost me $100 to get my nails done. And every kid in that auditorium, yeah, you're right. Every kid in that auditorium went, oh, and I shut my mouth and the principal lit her up. Look at me. That's not a money problem. That's not a money problem. And buying $40,000 necklaces and buying Dodge Hellcats, that's not a money problem. I was still at my wife's happiest place outside of our home is working in Kenya. You go to the deepest parts of Kenya and you tell those kids you spend $100 on getting your nails done. They would look at you and say, you have lost your mind. Most money problems are not problems about money. And so I use a $36,000 starting salary. I'll come back to that if you want to see the example that I actually use in the book. I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
I'm, you know, I'm motivated right now, first of all, by your energy and your passion with, I can tell that you care deeply about this, but it's so true what you're saying. It's so simple, yet effective. And you're right. After you've made that decision to try to live on the 100%, it's too late. And that's why we wanted you on here so much, because every single high school kid should hear this.
Do you know, Tammy, why it's hard? Have you ever noticed if I start talking to y'all about lawnmowers today, have you ever noticed John Deere ads start popping up on your phone?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know that's not coincidental, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're very effective. Now, when I say getting money right's not hard, there's a lot trying to make it impossible. Now, multiply that times thousands of the hundreds of thousands over a lifetime of these ads that are subliminally coming to us at the wrong time when we're talking about things, and they're very effective. It's almost impossible to make it through that. So you young adults, you athletes who have this moment ahead of you, you're never going to know that 70 is not 100. I mean, you're not even going to know you made a decision, because you're still going to be starting at the most money you've ever seen in your life. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And you will be living on 70% of your income for the rest of your life. You're not going to deal with the normal stress that a normal family has, and they're breaking up over just financial stress. Take it off your problems. Land lighter when you're living inside financial margin. They just land lighter. And you're never going to have this moment again. Imagine this: when you pay off a car loan, the next month, you've got $500 free dollars. Found money, free money. You don't have to spend it next month. You could either turn that $500 and use it for your good, or leave it alone. And in 2 months, advertising and greed and envy and want and unawareness and the drift goes and grabs that money, and you can never get it back. It's gone forever. This is that decision on every paycheck for the rest of your life. And you athletes, if you manage this well, you will have a life. Read my book. You will have a life you cannot imagine.
So again, love everything that you're saying, Dale. And as I hear, it sounds like you're saying the biggest obstacle are all the distractions that are thrown at us, which I tend to agree. I mean, technology makes it too enticing. Um, but tying that in, our program's the Confident Athlete. So let's tie that into confidence. How much do you think those decisions are made due to lack of confidence and or too worried about what others think of them?
Come on. People go broke trying to convince you that they're not broke. I was speaking at an event one time. Have you ever seen the movie with Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness? It's about a guy named Chris Gardner. And Chris was wanted to be a stockbroker in San Francisco and was actually homeless at a point. Chris and I were speaking at an event. We were backstage, and he said, "Dale, my mama loved me." And my mama said, "Baby, if you want to play on the team, exercise your muscles, exercise your talent. But baby, if you want to own the team, exercise your mind. What are you reading? What are you studying? If you want to own the team, go to the gym. I mean, if you want to play on the team, go to the gym. If you want to own the team, go to the library." And Tammy, these decisions about money are based on self-esteem and trying to, convince people that you don't know, and buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. You're going to go broke, and you won't even in 2 months remember the stuff that you bought. It's a self-esteem thing. Power is driving a fast car slowly. Power is the ability to drive a Ferrari at 25 miles an hour. Power is having the financial ability to do whatever I want to do and not wanting to do it. That's real power. That's real freedom. I could do whatever I want to do. I have just applied these principles in my life. I created a company, sold it a couple of years ago. I, just have options in my life now. And freedom is just having the confidence to do whatever you want to do. And when there's an internal barometer in our mind, and when you're a player and when you're a poser, you're always feeling insecure. But what's that saying? If you have an $80,000 truck and $1,000 in the bank, you look like you've made it. But if you drive $1,000 truck and $80,000 in the bank, you look like you're broke. I don't care. I'm not playing everybody else's game. I don't care. Y'all just do y'all's little deal. The wealthy have a plan to have less going out than is coming in, and the broke don't. And it's why they struggle all of their life. And the more you struggle, the more you're going to try and keep up with this. And by the way, your phone is telling you you'll never be able to do this. Your phone is lying to you. It's playing you. And by the way, all these people, your phone is saying the only way you can do this is to watch them do it. And let me tell you something. I've studied these people. They're broke. These people telling you these things, they're broke. Don't believe. They will even, if you dig deep, they will even tell you they're broke. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not letting Jeff talk here. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. So Jeff, I just want to make one comment that ties it all in. And I don't know if I've actually consciously put it together, but growing up, my grandfather was a self-made man, farmer, lawyer, congressman, and worked until he was 99 years old. But one of the wealthiest men in our county, but he drove a beat up pickup truck. He wore raggedy clothes, and people in town thought he was like almost a bum. And it was, I'm just sharing that, but it was true. He never had a want in his life, but he worked and he saved and he invested and he gave. And so just you telling all this brings back fond memories. So thank you there.
So I've got a question that I think some people will ask when they see this, because like you say, it's so important to, right from the beginning, learn to have that 70% as your 100%. So if you didn't do that, is it over for you?
That's the third question. Where was this when I was 18? Parents never talked to us about money. If I didn't start on 70, what do I do now? You think I've had a couple of people ask me that question, Jeff? So, the first time I spoke, people coming up, if I didn't do that, what'd I do? Okay, not too late. Watch this. There's two things you got to do. Number one, if you're an adult and you didn't start on 70, it's not over. Watch this. Number one, from this moment today, from this moment for the rest of your life, every new dollar coming into your house, every new dollar, or any raise you ever get, a bonus you ever get at work, a spouse gets a new promotion, right? Garage sale proceeds you have. Watch this. That car loan you pay off, that's new money. Every new dollar coming in your house for the rest of your life, you're never taking more than half of it. Never. And get to some seasons of your life. You know, the raise that I'm going to get, you know, my wife and I, years ago, we said, let's get to a season where, this is a hard word for Americans to understand, we're content. Let's stay content. You know, when we send that last payment to that car payment, what's the first thing the average American thinks of when you put that last payment in the mail and you put it in your mailbox? What's the next thought that comes through your mind? What can I get now? What can I go buy now? It's sick. But we just said, let's get to a point where we're content. We don't have to take all this extra money, this raise. We're living on what we're making right now. This is new money. Let's not take maybe any of it this year. And when you keep doing that year after year, you're living on less and less of your income, and you have more financial margin in your life, and you have more hope. Problems land lighter. Okay. So never take more than half of it. All new money for the rest of your life. Never take more than half of it. And some seasons don't take any of it. Okay. The second thing you've got to do, the money that you have, you've got to get it working hard, which means have it investing in stocks of great companies of the world through mutual funds. That's how billionaires invest. They have investment managers. It's all in the book. By the way, I've explained what is a mutual fund. It's not hard. Billionaires have very wise people take their dollars and constantly are looking for stocks and the best places to put it. And that's what a mutual fund does. And it lets normal people and young adults take $30 from a birthday card or $10 a month and send it to a mutual fund and invest in great stocks of companies of the world, growth company, Amazon, Google, Tesla, the company, NVIDIA, the companies you've heard. And let investment managers take those dollars and diversify it over hundreds of those companies. And they're managing your money. That's like billionaires invest their money. So average people can get small dollar amounts and get it in great companies of the world. And I say that because I talk to people as a CFP and they're going, well, I have some money saved. And I go, where is it? And they go, well, I got it in the bank. I'm going, why would you do that? And so I explain what is risk. Is the stock market risky? People think it is. Long term, it's not. It's by far the safest place to be. So all this is in the book, but you've got to, you know, from now on, never take more than half of any new money coming to your house, maybe none of it for some seasons. And the second thing, you've got to get investing in stocks in great companies of the world through mutual funds. And it's all in the book.
Thank you. That's awesome. I want to hear more about, and I love this concept, and I've lived this concept, so I know, and I've read your book. But let's talk about that 10%.
Come on. So the last, I say, live on 70%, invest 20%, and give 10% away. And you know, in auditoriums, I know what kids are thinking. Why would you ever give? So in fact, it says on the lesson notes that you can print out on the website, thetalkaboutmoney.com. It says, why would I give? I mean, why would you give your money away? Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Why am I going to give my money away? It's my money. Let them get their money. Why would I give my money away? Here's why what we've found is the reason my family would give our money away. And I don't know, I'm showing my phone if you're listening. I don't know if on your phone, you know, if you know anybody that's dealing with anger, anxiety, loneliness, depression, even worse thoughts. And part of the reason why, oh, he's going to bash social media. Look, I mean, I use social media. You see me speaking in front of places. That's why I'm here, because I use social media. But just listen to what it's doing. This phone, do you know what this phone is telling me to do? Get more for myself. Social media, do you know what it's telling us to do? To keep more for ourselves, to hoard more for ourselves. And this social media is telling us that the way to success and happiness today is by serving ourselves. It's the world's greatest lie. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of just not knowing, man, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Is there a point to my athletic ability, my gift? What am I here to? Why am I here? Can it make a difference? It's about flipping the script and becoming second and serving others with whatever gift you have. Look, the world tells us to love ourselves by serving ourselves. It's a lie. And when you flip that script and become second to others, the mind doesn't allow itself to feel hopeless when it's giving hope. You were created with a reward system in your brain. Why would nature do it? Nature does the opposite. You were built with a reward system in your brain. Do you know chemicals get released in your brain? You got some athletes here, and on some of their teams, they've had to do service projects before. Go take care of somebody's lawn, or Habitat for Humanity or food bank, or probably some of them had to do something. Hold a door open for an extended period of time when you do something good. Here you go. Give your mama a big old Christmas present at Christmas. Doesn't that give you a good feeling when you do something good like that? Do you know that's chemicals that get released in our brain? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Chemicals that get released. What if your whole life were built around just dropping grace bombs and gifts on everybody that came behind you? You're at dinner one night, somebody takes great care of you, and you pay your bill and your normal tip, and you're walking back and go, she was awesome. You walk back and you put $200 bills on the table. You go, you were fantastic. Or a lady's checking out at a grocery store and she starts crying and doesn't know whether to push milk back or formula back, and you walk over there and you go, I'll pay the whole tab. I'll pay all of her bill. Take care. God bless. I'll pay the whole thing. Have a great day. What if your whole life were built around just blessing people everywhere that you went your whole life? The mind does not allow itself to feel hopeless when it's giving hope. It's impossible. And this phone is playing us all. And our kids, they know it's playing them. They just don't have the answer. And this phone does not want you to do this. It does not want you to do this. But everything about your life gets new perspective. In this example in the book, the 10% giving column will do to and for you more than any of the investing column will. You'll start caring more about the giving column than you will the investing column. You will start taking from the investing column and moving it to the giving column, because everything about life gets new perspective when you start giving. And if you're an athlete and you start giving, watch this. I don't care how old you are. Watch this. Everybody wants a piece of you. I mean, study Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James. Study the great givers in sports. Study them. Everybody wants a piece of a person that's a giver. They're going to ask you to serve on their boards. They're going to take you to lunch for your business advice. They're going to put you on planes and take you to places you can't imagine, because givers are rare. And everybody wants a piece of a person that's a giver.
Woo, I'm ready to give.
Love it.
Write a check right now.
I always challenge anybody. If it doesn't work, call me in a year. I'll take you to a steak dinner, because I know it'll work.
And you are so right, but you're right. We get caught up in our day-to-day worlds, and we forget that that simple act of making a difference, of doing something for someone else, can fuel us for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. And we forget that because we become focused on the immediate needs or immediate attention. So great reminder, Bill.
Can I tell you how to solve that?
I would love to hear.
So in our financial lives, there is a drift that is trying to occur. There's a drift that's trying to take us off track. Let me say, I'm in here in I'm looking at the intercoastal waterway right here, and the ocean is 1 mile that way. I love surfing. So people watching this, everybody's probably been played in the ocean before. But have you ever, and people love playing in the ocean, have you ever noticed when you go out and play in the ocean and you're out there for about an hour, it's fun, everybody's having fun. Have you ever noticed when you're out there for an hour and you're ready to go back in, you're 200 yards down the beach? Have you ever noticed that? Look,
Oh, yeah.
look. You never realized you were drifting, but you ultimately realized you had drifted. My pastor once said, no one realizes when they're getting lost. Everyone realizes when they are lost. And in our financial lives, this is what I've studied. we're unaware of the drift. Listen. And how do you solve the drift? How do you solve it? Well, if you're surfing, I love surfing with my kids, and I always tell, if usually my wife is sitting on the beach, and as you drift, I tell a kid, paddle back to home. Know what your dream is. My wife's usually sitting on the beach. That's home. That's my dream. That's my goal. That's where I want to wind up. And listen, athletes know what they want the ultimate goal to be. They know what they want. Mine is 4/10 of a mile on my hands upside down on a skateboard. You got to know what's your dream, what's your goal, what's your true north. In my marriage, I know what my goal is. I know how I want to finish. I know where I want to finish. Financially, you got to know where you want to finish. What's your dream? And watch this. Your dream has to be stronger than your drift. And when your dream is stronger than your drift, what keeps me from being a great runner, the best runner that I want to be, it's the first movement of going from comfortable to uncomfortable. It's the first movement of pushing the covers back and stepping up on the floor early in the morning to get up to go run. Marvin Hagler, the boxer, said, it's hard to do road work when you're sleeping on silk sheets.
Ooh.
You got to know what your dream is. And when your dream's stronger than your drift and you get ready to go home, you're where you should be. And young adults, I'm telling you, if you start on 70 and you know what your dream is, you will overcome the drift and you'll never even know there's a drift.
That is a good mic drop,
That's
right?
powerful.
That is awesome, Dale. I could continue this
Mouse drop.
conversation forever, but I want them all to go get your book
There
and
you go.
continue that conversation through your book, because it is phenomenal. You share it phenomenally and passionately, and I just can't say enough of you being willing to come on and share that with our athletes. And I cannot stress to our athletes, coaches, and parents that are also listening the importance of this concept that you've provided. And, I'm glad Jeff asked the question. It's never too late, because I think some people might close that door. Whoops, I've already gone past that. It's not too late. So please, please, everyone on here, you'll do yourself a favor. In 10, 15 years from now, you're going to say, that Dale guy changed my life. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Dale, for sharing that with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. Everybody go be great.
As I said, under this video, there's going to be a link to the book, and it's not Tammy and I saying, hey, we suggest you go get this. Just go get it, read it, and do it, because it will change your life. And so thank you, Dale. We appreciate you being with us.
If you go to the talkaboutmoney.com, the resources, the get started to show them how to start all this stuff, everything is there on the talkaboutmoney.com. I'm grateful y'all let me be here to share this message. I'm passionate about it. So anyways, thank you all so much for having me.